Alright. Oh, the flash is on. Alright. We're going to 3, 2, 1.
You're watching Anime Sundays.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Anime Sundays, the show where we talk about anime on Sundays. And of course, we have the great
How y'all doing?
Show and Showdown here. And yes, I mean, I can't believe we're actually having this debate. I thought as One Piece fans and as a community, we were all on the same accord, but apparently not. Today, we will be debating Shanks versus Mihawk. Stay tuned. Alright, Rob. I mean, I think we're both on the same consensus here, but please, let me know. Who do you have in a fight or a stronger opponent? Shanks or Mihawk?
It's more complicated than what it seems. I think when you're discussing Mihawk, right? The world's strongest swordsman, now is a member of the Cross Guild, has a bounty of 3.5 billion berries. He has a name for himself. Mihawk has sparred with Shanks many, many times in the past, and we know that he got his title off of that sparring. But Shanks also gained notoriety from sparring against Mihawk. Here's the deal. I think that the closing deciding factor really lies into what makes a black blade permanent, because it will teach us a lot more about how Mihawk was able to achieve something that only Ryuma that we know was able to achieve. We've seen Odin, Scar, Kaido, and all these things. We've seen Roger clash weapons with Whitebeard. None of them have black blades. Shanks fought against Mihawk. He didn't have a black blade. But I believe the haki that Shanks has shown me, incredible. I've never seen Mihawk pull off the haki feats that Shanks has shown me thus far. If I'm looking at it from a haki standpoint, I believe that Shanks is stronger than Mihawk because his haki, especially his handle on Conquerors, is something I have not seen from Mihawk yet. And when you're looking at opponents that Shanks has dealt with, whether it was stopping Kaido on his way to Marineford, whether it was stopping Whitebeard or at least clashing weapons with Whitebeard and splitting the sky, they didn't even approach Whitebeard the same way.
Right. When
Mihawk saw Whitebeard, he said, I want to see how far we are from each other. I want to see the gap. Right. How much do I have to climb to reach Whitebeard? Am I close to Whitebeard? Let's see what happens. And Diamond Juzu ended up stopping his attack. Shanks sees Whitebeard, pulls right up on him. It's already like, Whitebeard, I'm here already. The respect level is different. The haki that Shanks has shown us against Admiral Aramaki, all of those things are different. So if Mihawk is going to be proven to be stronger than Shanks to me, I think that answer lies in permanent black blades. I don't believe it lies in his title of the world's greatest swordsman, because as we know, titles in One Piece can be janky at times. Buggy is a Yonko right now. Right. So
I think a lot of people's arguments are the feats from the past are so ancient. How are we still going on that? We know where Shanks is now. The government puts him here. But it's like, all we really have for Mihawk are those feats from the past. All we really have is what he displayed at the war, where he was hanging with kind of low tier, not low, super low, but, you know, under Yonko level tier characters. When Shanks put up to the war, it was over. I just feel like when you look at the feats of him sparring against Shanks, we can say it's been neck and neck when they were younger, right? And then we look at the feats of the war, we now see that Shanks is clearly, at least at that time, in Marineford. I feel like most people would say Shanks was obviously stronger than Mihawk at that time, because he literally said, oh, Red Haired here? I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
This is not a part of the agreement. Y'all, I will see y'all later. I'm not going to have a serious duel with Red Haired Shanks right now. We also have to look at some things that's been going on in those time gaps. All he's been doing is training Zoro. Shanks has been actively out here growing his crew, probably getting stronger. We see the kind of transformation from Shanks's crew members. They look, even Ben Beckman looks completely different from when they were at the war. You could assume Shanks has grown a lot stronger, where Mihawk has been trying to live peacefully, quietly. He's pretty much said, you know, Zoro, I'm going to pass on what I know. You keep working till you get better than me. Now, when it comes to the haki, no signs of conquerors for Mihawk. Not to say it might not be there, and like you said, the answer could be in the black blade. How did he do it? It could be there. Or it could just be technique, the thing that makes him the greatest swordsman. like you said, with Whitebeard, taking out half of Whitebeard's crew, and even in the manga, knocking out half of his own crew. There's a reason Shanks has been in his position as a more feared pirate than Mihawk.
The Mihawk fans will rebuttal and say that that's because Mihawk has been riding solo and Shanks has a powerful crew, because we do know Shanks has modeled his crew after Goldie Roger's crew. So Ben Beckman is today's Rayleigh in my eyes. It's things like that we're seeing from Shanks that we can say, all right, Shanks has a crew. He's in the room with the Gorosei. All these things are happening. Of course, Shanks is going to have more notoriety. Obviously, Shanks is going to have a bigger name than Mihawk because of that.
Shanks' notoriety is a thing that I feel like is going to grow on its own when you become stronger. Your strength is proved by what you're doing. We know Shanks has been out here doing things this whole time in the new world to get to this level. If anybody pulls up on Shanks, it's not going to be anybody but an admiral. There's comes a point to a time where we have to respect like what we've seen Shanks been doing. Where Mihawk has kind of just, regardless of why it happened, Mihawk has been kind of in the sidelines most of the show. He's been working for the government. He's been training Zoro. He's been hanging out with Perona, making cookies or whatever they be doing on that island.
He's been laying low. Mihawk, that's his character. He definitely likes to lay low. But I will say this, right? Because a lot of the Mihawk fans out there are also part of the Zoro fandom as well. And I see that they say the Zoro narrative will be ruined if Mihawk ends up not being the world's strongest swordsman. I think for me personally, I feel like because Zoro is under Mihawk's tutelage, there's already some gray area there for me. But also the fact that Mihawk has that title, I feel like is not enough, because we've seen certain titles already be debunked in One Piece itself already. The titles don't always hold their weight. We do know that when Mihawk pulled up on Shanks early on in the series, Shanks was ready to fight him. It was Mihawk who turned it down, saying, well, you're a one-armed has-been, I don't want to deal with you. That does not mean that Mihawk would body Shanks. What that means is that Mihawk was underestimating Shanks. He didn't want to deal with Shanks. He said, Shanks, you're not strong enough. But when Shanks pulled up to the war, Mihawk said, I don't want to deal with Shanks right now.
Right.
I signed up to fight Whitebeard, not Shanks. Think about that for a second. He signed up to fight somebody that he wanted to measure his level of strength against. But when Shanks pulled up, he didn't want to deal with him at all. You can say him and Shanks are friends. So obviously he doesn't want to fight his friend. Okay, if we move forward with that, right? Haki, devil fruits, sword skills. There may be a difference between the three. Now, if you say that haki and swordsmanship walk hand in hand, then obviously you would disagree. But when I'm looking at great swordsmen with great devil fruit abilities, I'm looking at Trafalgar D. Walter Law, who is a swordsman that can compete with Zoro, and he has horrible sword skills in comparison to Zoro. But because he can use his devil fruit in conjunction with his sword skills, he's still considered a swordsman, but he's more of a swordsman that relies on his devil fruit. Why can't the same be used with haki? That's my question. Now, you will say, well, Mihawk does have incredible haki. Of course he does. But I have not seen any Conqueror's haki feats, and I do believe you will need Conqueror's haki to go up against Shanks. Do I think Mihawk has it? I do, because Zoro has Conqueror's. There's no way Mihawk doesn't have it if Zoro doesn't have it. Does he have it to the level of Shanks?
I don't know. And I also wanted to just throw out there that, you know, a lot of people with the new chapter, or not some previous chapters, where they were saying that, oh, well, yeah, that, you know, they have Mihawk, you know, the greatest swordsman, you know, unrivaled in that area. It's like, when you look at Roger, they would say Whitebeard was the strongest man on Earth. But Roger was still king of the pirates, and every time they fought, they either tied or Roger was on top. And I just think that that's the same thing for Shanks' case. Like, the haki is the key there, and I need to see more from Mihawk personally to even give him that super leg up.
The black blades, that's what it is for me. If we find out that black blades are the end-all be-all, I will say Mihawk stronger than Shanks, because he does have a permanent black blade. The only other swordsman that was able to do that is Ryuma, who is revered as the sword god.
But that's still, I feel like that also goes to the type of haki. if you're that perverse in armament, it doesn't mean you're necessarily stronger in the Conqueror's department.
Right.
And for me, I feel like this is where it also comes back when we're like, when we had our top 5 or top 10 current, and I had Mihawk so low. It's because where are we still placing them with a Kaido, an Akainu? Those discussions still are not definite, because even though he may be the strongest swordsman, it doesn't mean his haki's necessarily stronger than Kaido's. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's so powerful that it's gonna just take Akainu out. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of variables there, and I feel like Mihawk has been kind of laxed so long that we can't just give that to him.
We can finish this off by saying this. Shanks is the only character left alive that was in Kaido's Fab 5. His top 5 of all time, that if he fought them, he doesn't know who's winning. Shanks is the last alive in that camp. So at minimum, Shanks haki is Kaido level. At minimum.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Y'all let us know how y'all are feeling. I know the Mihawk fans, y'all still going hard for him. Let us know in the comments below. And with that, we'll see y'all next Sunday.